I don't want to act like that I'm the best networker in the world. This is hard for me. It's uncomfortable to try to pitch yourself or tell people how good you are, or that you're going to make money. It's really difficult. And so what I am saying is the little amount of effort that I have put into this has paid off in a big way. And I'm encouraging you guys that this is something you can do. You're not, once again, it makes it easier. Most people are not going to say, no, I'm not letting you add me to the list.
Yeah, right.
I don't want to know anything. They get 100 email a day.
Don't put me on your list.
Yeah, they're on so many email lists that they hate. This at least is someone that they know or potentially know.
Yeah. I'm going to email you 4 times a year.
Yeah, I mean, it's
4.
Right.
All right, guys, welcome back to How to Invest in Commercial Real Estate. Today we are going to talk about supercharging your networking. And the reason we picked this topic is because all the value and the profit in commercial real estate is made in finding and closing deals. Yeah. And so today we're going to talk about several ways you can use networking to really increase your deal flow. How do you find those deals that you can buy? And that's really how you make the money.
Yeah, I mean, at Criterion, we've had a lot of success with meeting with real life people and networking and finding great deals. We talk about the kind of deals we like to buy. People who are in the business ask us what kind of deals we're buying or what we're into, and we start explaining, yeah, we're in commercial real estate. We like to buy apartments. We like to buy shopping centers. Ooh, what kind of shopping centers? What kind of apartments? So it starts this conversation, and then pretty soon we have this little army of people literally looking for our deals for us and bringing them to us, and then we just get to sift through those.
All right, let's break it down then for them. What's kind of like a first bullet point that they can take where they're sitting around saying, okay, what's my first step in getting deal flow?
You got to be in the right room.
Yeah. That's how you call it, is you got to be in the right room. I've heard you say that before. And so that's what, conferences, local organizations.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably a NAIOP organization.
What's NAIOP?
I don't know.
National Association of
Industrial and Office Properties.
Ooh, boom, there we go. Okay, so there's NAIOP nationally, there's BOMA. There's all sorts of local.
But NAIOP it's not just industrial and office properties. It really is commercial real estate in general. That's what the organization has become.
It's a nationwide organization.
You're going to have a local chapter if your
okay.
city has more than a few 100,000 people in it, maybe. But that's a good place to start because there's going to be networking events where you can meet other local professionals that are in your industry. It'll include brokers, it'll include investors, it'll include owners. So that being in the right room is being at those events. Networking at golf tournaments and Christmas galas and things where people are getting together and they're just talking about their profession, and they need to hear your story and they need to hear what you're looking for. And you need to put them on notice that you're looking for commercial real estate. You want to buy this type of commercial real estate. You're funded, that kind of stuff. And so that way, when they have a deal pop up, they're thinking, okay, Precision Equity, Criterion, or whatever the company is.
Yeah, it's like when you go buy a new car, right? Like you go identify, ooh, man, that new Ford Explorer looks exactly like a Range Rover. It's not the price of a Range Rover. And then you see that Explorer like 50 times on the highway. It's the same thing. You got to project it out. You got to let people know, hey, I'm looking for shopping centers. I'm looking for multifamily, because somebody's looking to sell multifamily and somebody's looking to sell those shopping centers. They just haven't identified us as a buyer yet. So,
okay. So a lot of that's going to get you some local exposure. What if you want more national exposure? What can you do?
You gotta go in those areas, or
go to the right conferences.
Mm-hmm. Going to the right conferences. Yeah, that's
for us, we've had some success in looking up conferences. There's a conference out there for whatever area of commercial real estate you want to be involved in.
Yeah,
and there's ones for big institutional investors and owners, and then there's some for middle market, and then there's small market. Wherever you fit in the equation. There's a conference out there for you. We've been to the mid-market apartment multifamily conference where we're meeting owners kind of just like us. But at that conference, there'll be lenders that want to loan on mid-market apartments, mid-market multifamily. There'll be family offices and private equity that are specifically looking to invest money, not in huge Class A institutional type deals, but in middle market apartments. So you get to meet a wide range of people that are going to fit to what you want to do.
Yeah. Aren't there even companies out there, and that's sort of how they make a living, is by putting conferences on, commercial real estate conferences, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think like Biz Now is literally just throwing conferences right now.
Yeah.
It's the whole business model.
Okay.
But yeah, there's a lot of value to be said at conferences. ICSC, International Council of Shopping Centers. It's a massive conference. So many new development deals on the retail front get made at ICSC, at least the relationship. I mean, you're getting 5, 10, 15 minutes at a booth, but you're making a relationship to where you may get your email answered when you get back home. That guy knows you. He shook your hand. He knows about your project. It seems interesting. He got the 30-second elevator pitch, and it worked. You know, deals are done in a room, in person.
The big one, the big CCIM is in Las Vegas, but I think there's one in like Dallas, New York, and so there'll be one closer to you, and it'll be more of a centralized focus on that area of the country. So, is there any other conferences that we want to mention? I mean, there's debt conferences. If you're into hotels, there's a whole conference on buying hotels or that industry.
There's conferences on family offices of just rich families that need to invest money in commercial real estate.
Yep.
So they'll throw a conference to hopefully go invest some of their money
and meet a sponsor that they can get their investments out.
So that's mind blowing right there. So like, there's literally people who have no idea what to do. They can't find the money to go buy their deal. They can't find the deal, and it's just Here's how you find the deal. Here's how you find the money. You Google, family office conference. There's one in 3 months close by. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
There's a lot of them.
There's a lot of them. And then you just go and do it. And you introduce yourself to people. Hey, we're buying these types of deals. Are you interested? And they're going to say, yeah, that's why they're there. And then you take it from there.
All right, what's next?
Yeah, on the right list, right?
Be on the right list. That's huge, because you're not always going to know the guy face to face. He's not always going to be a member of your luncheon, your breakfast group, your NAOP organization. We've got deals in Vegas and in Arkansas and in Texas. You've got Cincinnati. We've had North Carolina, Indianapolis, Oklahoma City.
Yeah. So you may ask, well, Joel, how did you find, or you guys too? You guys are out of state. How did you find these deals in Indianapolis or in North Carolina?
Yeah.
Well, we got on the right lists, and you have to get yourself on brokers' list. The brokers are busy, and they have hundreds, if not thousands, of clients that they're sending deals to. So they're just not going to send each deal individually to each one of those people. They're going to blast it on a list, and then they're going to expect you to see that and then call them up to ask questions. Mm-hmm. So you've got to get on both locally and nationally. You've got to get on brokers' lists where you're seeing the deal flow like we've talked about. You've got to be seeing a bunch of deals. So that's one way that you can increase your networking is you get on all these lists. Then you can hit them up about a listing they had, send them an email back. Then every time you email them, your name is coming up. And so they're going to think Criterion. And they'll think, okay, these guys are players. They're interested. And so you may get a call from them. So I think it's important.
The best brokers, in my opinion, are broker cold calls. I love it when a broker cold calls me and says, hey, I saw you bought that. I've got 5 other deals that look just like it. Are you a buyer? Like, that guy's done his homework. He knows what I want. He knows what I bought. He knows my name. He went to my website. He's familiar with our processes. And he went and found identical properties that would most likely work for me and said, hey, dude.
I got a story about that. So this may bore people, but back we were just multifamily guys, and we had sold a big multifamily portfolio, and we got ourselves in a 1031 trade, and I identified a few deals, and they all fell through except for this retail deal. And we never purchased retail before.
Yeah.
So we purchased retail. It's going pretty well. We didn't really know what we were doing. Never thought I'd buy another retail deal. I'm kind of looking for more multifamily. And this broker cold calls me and says, hey, I saw you bought this deal in Tulsa. I've got a deal in Little Rock. And I took the call. I listened to him. I'm always open-minded. I'm never just like, I don't know this guy. I'm hanging up on him. So I ended up driving to Little Rock, doing the due diligence, and this thing fleshed out, and we purchased it.
How crazy
and
is
you
that?
still own it, right?
We still own it, yeah. And it's done really well. And it didn't stop there. A year later or 2 years later, he calls me up again and says, because I performed on the first one, he says, hey, I got another deal for you. It happens to be just outside of Cincinnati in Florence, Kentucky. And so I was like, okay. So we go to Kentucky, we look at the deal, and we purchase that, and we've owned that for almost 4 years.
Yeah.
I know this guy, but the name's drawing me a blank.
Yeah, I can't remember the name either.
No.
I'll think of it here. Jason is the first name.
But anyway, if you're a broker, take notes, okay? Take notes, because, I mean, how easy is that? The broker's job is to sell the property for as much money and as fast as possible for the seller. So, I mean, he's going to people who he thinks are actually going to perform and close the deal.
Yeah, he doesn't want to waste his time.
Yeah, when we're bidding on deals, they're wanting, you know, proof of liquidity, proof of money. They want maybe a recommendation. They want to know, okay, who are you? Do you have a website? Have you ever bought anything? Because if you lock it up, you get them pregnant, you know, in contract, they're going to kill 45 days and maybe lose out on another buyer.
Well, so one more example on the get on the right list is, so I'm on Crexy, which is, you know, all of these, the commercial real estate is a massive site. And I drum through hundreds of listings, and then I'll download some OMs and I'll contract some brokers.
Yeah.
Well, this one listing I liked. And so I ended up getting on this guy's list, and he's out of Memphis. And then later down the line, he emails me and says, hey, I got this deal in Memphis I think you guys will like. We ended up bidding on it. We ended up buying it, and then 6 months later, he calls me again. Hey, Joel, I got another listing for you. It's right next door to the other one you bought, and we ended up buying that one. And that's how I got in Memphis.
Wow.
I didn't know anybody in Memphis. I hadn't really been to Memphis, and now we have two successful deals in Memphis just because I got on the right list. So anyway, I think that's a big one. What's next?
Yeah, good.
If you're a broker, go to both of our websites right now. Look at everything we have. And if you have something similar, call us, because we will buy that shit. Next.
All right, next.
Majority of the capital stack from the deal you just found from the list or being in the right room or going to the right conference, you found the deal. And the majority of the money is going to come from some sort of lending instrument, some sort of bank probably. So you should get to know some banks.
Get to know your lenders.
I mean, it's a big one.
So there's several reasons why I think this is important. Number one, you want to know what the market's doing and the mortgage market's doing.
For sure.
That's how you evaluate your deals. But it's way more important than that, because local bankers, local commercial lenders, they know who's who in commercial real estate. They're the ones lending the money. They know what deals are happening. They know who has money.
Yeah.
They know who's, you know, has potentially money to invest. And so it's so important to get to know these guys. And the great thing about your local lenders is they'll buy you lunch whenever you want them to, right? They have the marketing budget. They want to lend you money. And so have them take you to lunch for free and pick their brain on what they're seeing in the market, who's doing new projects, you know, and you'll learn so much from them, but they'll also connect you to other commercial real estate professionals in your area. And so that's a really massive win for you if you can get to know those guys and get a bunch of free lunches.
Yeah, and most loan officers are you know, salary plus commission normally, you know, so they're incentivized heavily to get these deals done. So just like a broker or an owner, you know, they're heavily incentivized to get these deals done. So like I said, if they're holding a note on a property that they've held for a really long time, hey, this might be ripe for a trade. Hey, we've got this client. I can't tell you how many times a lender has said this. Hey, we've got this client who's asking about commercial real estate investing. Can I kick him your way? Mm-hmm. Every time. Every single time.
Now that's got to be a stop for people that want to get in this business, is networking with your local lenders.
Yeah, because when you bank somewhere, a lot of people, especially a lot in the older generations, they're going to the local banker for a notary, let alone investment advice, a mortgage, a car loan. They're literally going to their local bank for everything. So they're asking questions there. Knowing the local lender could get you some cash, a lot of cash.
All right, next.
The next and most important one is, you know, funding your deals. You know, you're going to invest in this deal, but you're most likely going to let other people know about it. Other people will most likely want the opportunity to invest in that amazing commercial real estate deal. So
the first several are really networking to find deals. This last point is networking to fund your deal.
Exactly.
And you don't want to wait until you have a deal to network for your investors, right? Because it's hard enough to get people to give you money in commercial real estate. But when you go to people and you try to get it quick, hey, I need this, you seem desperate, I got to close this deal, come on, help me out.
And they don't understand.
Yeah, that's not going to be the best way to get this thing done. So what you want to do is every professional that you think has some investable cash that's in your circle, you need to be, hey, I'd like to have 10, 15 minutes of your time. I just want to tell you about what I do and just see if commercial real estate's a fit for you or someone that you know.
Yeah.
And here's the pitch. You're not going to ask them for money. You're just going to ask them, hey, would you mind that I add you to our investor list, our distribution list? That way they get the quarterly updates of what you're doing. You're going to be excited about the profits you made your other investors. They're just going to see that, and they're going to sit on that list, and they're going to get those emails. And pretty soon one day, they're going to have FOMO. They're going to say, I don't want to miss out on this, and they're going to jump in a deal. I've had people that have been on my investor list for 5 years, 6 years, never did a deal, and they finally come around to say, you know what, I've seen Joel in action now for the last several years. I've seen how many deals they've done, and I have confidence. So I never even had to ask them for the money, right? They just decided when it was right for them.
Yeah, right.
But that all starts from having conversations and getting people on your list.
Yeah.
So you want to be on the right list, but you also want to get people on your list.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many coffees and lunches and phone calls and emails we've written to investors. And the other thing about investors, networking with investors, is I'm amazed at how many investors come to me and say, hey, I know a guy who's, or a girl who's owner of a bank or president of a bank. Why don't you talk to them about lending? And I've got other investors. I've got friends that want to invest. And I know this developer, he's wanting to do something over here. So it's not just getting them to recommend you to other investors. They'll
have contacts that can help you.
Yeah, they have contacts that can help you too.
I'd like to say this is not a strong suit for me. I don't want to act like that I am the best networker in the world. This is hard for me. It's uncomfortable to try to pitch yourself or tell people how good you are, that you're going to make money. It's really difficult. And so what I am saying is the little amount of effort that I have put into this has paid off in a big way. And I'm encouraging you guys that this is something you can do. You're not, once again, it makes it easier. Most people are not going to say, no, I'm not letting you add me to the list.
Yeah, right.
I don't want to know anything. They get 100 email a day.
Don't put me on your list.
Yeah, they're on so many email lists that they hate. This at least is someone that they know or potentially know.
Yeah.
I'm going to email you 4 times a year.
Yeah, it's
4.
Right.
So you should be able to get a yes if you have any salesmanship ability at all.
If you don't, just quit.
Yeah, if you can't get people on your list, for 4 emails a year. But anyway, I think it's really important to network and get people on your list. And as that list builds, they'll recommend other people, and it'll grow. And we're just now seeing our list grow to the point where, raising capital is getting easier and easier. Before I had to make a lot of calls. Now I just set it up, we submit it, we push a button, and we get commitments. And that's how you want it.
Sounds like it's time to go after some bigger deals.
Yeah, it might be.
Yeah.
Alrighty, guys, be in the right room, network, meet with real people. And,
go to the right conferences, get to know your lenders, and get people on your list.
Boom. That's it.
All right.
We'll see you next time on How to Invest in Commercial Real Estate.